Hello, good evening. Welcome. Welcome. My name is Ovindako. It's another day, it's another evening, and there is nothing like being equipped with information, with knowledge, with education before you start any endeavor. There is a lot of advantage that we get to have. We happen to get if we are equipped with the basis, and usually it is very if it's very much relevant and contextual in terms of our environment, in terms of our culture. It's very much it's an advantage for you to get information before you start any business, any idea that you want to put to work. uh, Business is about doing. It's not just about talking and writing and planning and focusing on business plan and everything. Some people have had their business plan written, bound for years, and they have not been able to do it. The advantage of me sharing some of these things with you is because we have fidgeted with it. We have tried, made a lot of errors, and we think that some of the things that we know may be relevant to somebody who is contemplating in starting a business in the general contract kind of business. Some of the tips that I think will help you, particularly in our kind of economy, in our kind of country. Most people will start, business. Very few people start business by thinking and planning and maybe knowing the milestones and things like that. The closer you are to starting a business in with the right tools and the right information, the right data, the better for you to succeed. They say that a lot of businesses fail, and within 10 years, a lot of them fail. Maybe just 1 to 5 or 10% of businesses will survive after 10 years. So if 100 people started a business in a very well structured economy, just about 5% will be surviving or will be, will be doing well after 10 years. And even that, they are not mainly in the general contract business. Usually they are in the innovation, they are in the other kind of businesses. But in our kind of country, anybody at all can connect you to somebody and they give you a project, and then you start to call yourself a contractor, and yet you are not equipped so much. And so most people enter into these kind of businesses not with the mind to start and build a company or to build a business, but as a way of getting something. They just want to do something, and somebody connects them to. But you must have, if you want to build it as a business, then there are things that you may want to consider, and based on how well you do these things, they will at least help you to become successful. They say that Africans don't like information. Sometimes it's true. We don't like to get the right information before we start anything. We just go with the little information that we have, and then we hope and pray that we will be successful. I think that the world has grown to a stage where a lot of things can be predicted, and one of it is business and its success. And so, if you are contemplating, or if you are in this kind of business, which majority of the people are, where you are into construction, you are into engineering, or you even do supplies, the kind of businesses where you have to get money. First of all, you have to be connected by somebody to get a project, or maybe you go to bid for it. Then when you win it, you have to go and look for money, or maybe they mobilize you with a lot of securities, for them before they give you their money, and then you have to go and do the work, and it takes a while for them to pay you. This kind of businesses are not businesses that if you're novice you start. businesses, I think that especially the construction, the engineering kind of businesses, the contract, I think that you must know a lot. You must have the right technical understanding, and you must have the right managerial skill. Or after 2, 3, 4 years, you'll be back to square one. That's why you meet a lot of contractors. You see them, the man is carrying his portfolio and will tell you that he has been doing contract for 20 years and he has nothing to show. He has no business, he has no team, and he's gone through a lot of pain and struggles. Why? Because they did not study. They did not even believe that there was something that they didn't know. There are people who come with money, or maybe they have worked somewhere, maybe they happen to win some lotto, something, and they have money. And once they get money, they have, sometimes it happens like that. Then a friend will call them and say, oh, my friend is a DCE. He can help us with road contract. So if you can give him 10%, they will give you 10 million project. And you know nothing about it. You think that just because they have given you project and they promise you that there is money there, and you may have to give them some kind of thing behind, it means that you have a business. Usually, a lot of people find themselves into trouble that they never would ever think of before entering into this. So my little understanding and some of the things that I have identified that may help you if you are contemplating, or even if you have started, because I can tell you most people in this kind of businesses have a lot of difficulties, have a lot of challenges, especially when the economy was in bad shape. So some of the things that you may want to look at will be, you have to understand that the environment that you're doing this kind of business, contract business, there are a lot of people who will come with projects. There are a lot of people who tell you that they know everybody. There are a lot of people who are themselves are connection men. The people who are giving the contract are somewhere, you are here, and there are a lot of people in between. And every one of them is coming with their bag, and they have a lot of things that they demand. So for me, if you want just the money, then you may want to do anything at all. And if you find yourself in trouble, don't worry, because you just wanted money. But if you want to build a business, then I will say that as much as you can, have a proper setup as to how you get the project. Try to cut a lot of these so-called connection men, middlemen, from you getting, go directly to companies that may help you to get a project. Don't go with people promising and telling you that they know everybody and they can help you to get some project, and you pay them some 2%, 3%. Those are not the best ways to start businesses. If you want money, just money, then no problem. Go and fight. Maybe it's lotto, you may win. But if you want to start a business and build it well, because there's so much difference between the people who are trying to build a business, an idea they have, they want to build it into a business, and somebody who wants to just chase something for money. So if you just want to chase a project because you want extra income, then that is still dangerous for you anyway. But if you want to build it as a business, because they say that we don't have a lot of engineering construction companies that are 10 years old. We don't have them because the area is that much tough and difficult, from project acquisition to project execution to financing to managing the thing. There is a lot of complexities, and I think that it demands technical skills and it demands managerial business skills, and it's difficult for you to get the two at the same time, especially if you just happen to have come from school. You don't have the technical so much, and you don't have the managerial so much, and the finance may not also be there. So it's not something that anybody at all can just jump into it. That's why usually how people get into it is through connections. And if you go through connections, you have jumped the line. It will not help you. So you may have to just look at how you would want to start this kind of industry from the level of the skill set that you have. And so define the environment. You have to have your own criteria as to which is acceptable to you. And for me, jump the line. I will not want to deal with a lot of so-called connection men, people who are so much connected. I would want to go through the processes. And if somebody gives me 10 million Ghana City project and it's my first project, I would not want to consider that. I would want to consider maybe 100,000, 200,000 to learn, at least do those kind of figures, or maybe 10,000, 20,000 kind of figures, to understand how it is being done well, and to build your capacity, to build your network. Because the essence is, the project is going to be successful because you know what you're doing. You understand the technicalities, you understand everything involved. It's not just the figure. And the higher the figure, the more trouble you will have. And if you go into ditch, the bigger the figure, the more you will sink. And so you would want to build your capacity, and you would want to understand how these things are done in our kind of environment, our kind of country. And you would also want to work on the kind of team that you have to put together for you to have this kind of business set rightly. What you, the one who you, as you know, you who are starting the business, what understanding do you have? What skill do you bring on board? Is it a construction company? Is it an engineering company? What do you have? What do you bring on board? Do you think that you know what to do? Do you think that you understand the technical aspect? If they put an engineering drawing there, do you have the expertise? Can you extract it? Can you understand it? Can you do the calculations? Can you provide the bill? Do you understand these things? Do you understand the terminologies that they use? If you don't have that, then maybe it may not be a good business for you, or maybe you may have to partner with somebody who understands it. Don't just jump into it because you think, because there's a lot. Oh, they said that we should just go and build two-bedroom contract, 2-bedroom contract. It's 2 bedroom, but there are a lot of things involved. You would need a lot for you to build it as a business. So if your mind is only on the money, then there's trouble. And most contractors that you meet, after 10 years, then they start to know that they didn't understand what they were doing. After 5 years, they start to see that they push themselves into something that they had no idea. And maybe they would have been better if they had gone to do some maize farm or cassava farm, or cocoyam or something. They would have won than going through all these connections, complicating their life. So you must understand what kind of technical skills you're bringing, what kind of managerial skills you're bringing on board before you start that business. What is your financial understanding? Do you understand the financial terrain? If they talk of bid bonds, if they talk of bid security, performance bond guarantee, performance guarantee, mobilization guarantee, those things, do you understand them? Do you understand the percentages? Can you go to the bank or the insurance to raise these things? And do you know the effect on the total sum of the contract that you're bidding? These are things that most people will just say, oh, they don't mean anything, but they are all cost. There are a lot of pre-contract costs that you just have to know how to factor them. A lot of these people who call themselves contractors, when they are bidding, they call some quantities over somewhere they have never worked with. They don't know how he builds his rate. They just go and give it to him that, Masa, you contract, you are promising me. Then you do that, then you go and take it there. And by the time you see it, you have presented a bid that you don't know anything about. You don't understand the figures, you don't understand how they build up the thing, you don't even understand the financials, you just think that you know what you're doing. And then eventually, because if you don't understand what you're doing, it means that you have set yourself for failure. And you don't play with money. Money is something that you don't play with. It can easily sink your life, can easily destroy you. And so if you're doing something like business, and it's a bit difficult kind of business, you would want to grow in bit by bit. Bit by bit. Don't just look at the contract figure. A lot of people have been damaged, destroyed, annihilated because they went into this kind of businesses. So the other thing will be what kind of company structure that you want to use. Do you want to use a limited liability company, enterprise, partnership? What do you want to use? And any of them that you want to use, they have different setting so far as the state institutions are concerned. For instance, the tax people, there's something there for you. If you want to go for classification, there's something that you have to pay. These are all things that you may want to look at. It's not just that, oh, the contract is here, go and bring some company, let's get you a contract. If you do that, they may have the muscle to pull you through all the systems, but it will still settle on your foundation. It doesn't matter which level they push you, you will still be settled on your strength. And if you don't put a lot of things rightly, you stage yourself for major difficulties. That's why you can meet some people, He said that, the people told me to bring a lot of money. I started it, and now I have nothing left. I owe these banks, and they are chasing me. And the contract that I did, they don't even want to pay me. I've been chasing them for 3 years, and my money is locked, and it's millions. Those are not the problem. The problem was, the problem was you. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't understand a lot of things that they were doing. Part of it that you may also want to look at will be the machinery. Sometimes maybe you have all these things that you have said, but you can get yourself into difficult situations when it comes to making a lot of deep or heavy investment in terms of machines. Because when it comes to engineering, business, contract, projects, there are machines that sometimes you may want to buy or rent, and those are different levels. I remember there was a time that we went to buy this bulldozer. Yeah, for 4 years, we were in trouble every day because we bought a bad one, old one, and the people along the chain, from the guy who helped us to buy the thing to all the mechanics who came to correct it, to everything. We lost a lot of money. We went through a lot of stress because we did not know the trade. We did not understand what we were getting ourselves into. So the money that we had worked somewhere that we mobilized, some of these guys led us into buying a bad machine. And for a lot of time, we're in bad trouble. And anytime you have money to buy any machine, you will see people, any experts will come up. Experts will come up. Some of them will tell you that they can bring the machine from China to you. Some of them will tell you that they know people in Dubai. And other people will tell you that, oh, their brother is in Germany. Give them the money. And you may not have the technical understanding as to what it takes to identify a good machine. Most people may not be able to buy new machines, so it will be second-hand. Do you understand what it takes? So some people are saying, oh, I want to buy a backhoe. Do you understand the complexities of owning a backhoe? Some people want to say, we want to buy a bulldozer, excavator, Apart from that, or the normal tools, the power tools that they have. So there are a lot of things that you would want to look at. And every one of them has financial implication. And you can meet contractors who have a lot of machines packed. All of them are not working, and they are all money. And some of them even went to borrow, and their situation is really bad. So if you don't get these decisions right, you've set the business wrongly, and by all means, it will fail. And if it fails, there will be damage, and a lot of the damage will be financial damage. How do you even employ the right engineers? How do you employ the right artisans? Do you know how to manage them? Do you understand their language? So you don't just you don't just jump into some of these things, especially from big figures, just because somebody connected you somewhere. So if you want to build a construction company, an engineering company, project-based businesses, general contract kind of businesses, you may want to sit down and do your analysis well, because it's very stressful. Okay, because the money that they pay you on the project, even if you're doing the project well, you're putting a lot of money into just one project. Then somebody will come and assess you. Then when you have done the assessment, then they will decide, that this is how much you're worth. And sometimes, even having raised a certificate for you, they will still go and sit down, and you have to wait for months before you're paid. If you're not skilled, if you don't know what you're getting yourself into. But if you have done it for a while and you know what you're getting yourself into, you would want to look for a project or projects that at least you are getting payment every month or every 2 months, and you are not borrowing to do that project, and maybe you are even mobilized before you start the project, and maybe you have the ability to pick the right kind of team, the right kind of engineers, and you're able to manage them well. And maybe you're not going to spend a lot of money in terms of machinery. You're not going to spend a lot of money in terms of machinery. If you don't understand these things, you have designed a business to fail. And that's why you have a lot of contractors with big troubles. Huge ones. Why? Because every bit of these things can easily put you into bad shape, difficult situation. And I'm sorry, but the kind of contractors or the kind of general contractors that we have, most of them are not building businesses. They just want to eat. Okay, so our fathers, our uncles, who we saw building classrooms for the government, building affordable houses for the government, building roads for the government, all kind of projects that they have from the government. Most of these things are coming from the government. I would say that if you want to start this business and if you want to start a business in this field and you really want to learn the basics, because your ability to learn the basics will prove whether you're going to succeed in whether you're still going to do it after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. If you're able to build it into a business with less stress, less pain, less financial complexities, then I don't think that going through government kind of projects may be appropriate for you. You may want to look at institutions that are one point payment, where they say that once you're done the work, it goes to the accountant's office and they pay you. Those kind of things, I think, are better. If you have to go through 4, 5, 6 stages before they pay you, it's not for small boys. It's not for beginners. It's not for you. Okay, it's not for you, because if the cash flow if the cash flow, if the project is designed so that the cash flow is troubled, you can't sleep. You can't sleep. And don't say that, oh, the people will give me a loan. No. Every loan that you take, they are taking interest. They will take collaterals. They will take insurance on their loans. They will take processing fees. By the time they give you loan, it's less, maybe 2%, 3%. And then they are charging you big interest. And why would you want to take a loan to do somebody's project? Especially when their rates are not even good. When their rates are not even good. Because the fact is, if you really want to build it into business and build the capacity, and then you are not the one going behind to accept this kind of variations and escalations and fluctuations and all these kululus that people do, the pad-ups that people do. You would want to stay out of those things and maybe try to learn how to build with good, predictable, fair margins, on your rate, because you want to learn it as a business. You don't want to learn it as just getting money, because the moment you build your network in these kind of businesses around all the kululus that people do, you would be sacrificing your ability to learn the basics rightly, and you set yourself on a path that it becomes unsustainable, and eventually you will lose. And it doesn't matter which figures that they give you from the beginning. If the foundation is wrong, and if you don't learn the trade well, it will collapse, and it will collapse on you. So I would say that learn it well, learn the acceptable standards that this kind of businesses go through, and learn to do it well gradually, and build the capacity as you go. And if anybody connects you anywhere, tell them that this is our country. The project that the government guy is giving you is not his project, so you can't pay anything. If they so want the project and they want to do well, they will accept the fact that they want somebody who can do the work well. You don't want to be used as a conduit for somebody's money. You don't want them to use you as a place where they can make money off you, because if you accept that, then all the mistakes, all the deals, they will take them through you. But when there's trouble, their name will not show anywhere, and you will be the one facing the authorities, and it will not be good for you. So build it as a business. Go through the basics, and if you meet challenges, don't run away, because every business meets challenges. But businesses that are contracts, I think their challenges are double. They're huge. Part of it is coming from, the things that I've discussed, the environment, how you get your projects. Most people, when they are giving you a project, they have strings attached. So when you have the philosophy and you say that I don't want to do these things, of the so-called leads and deeds, that you can easily walk off, because they're demanding things that you think will not help you to set the business foundation rightly. You should not. If it has to take you a year to get a good project, I think you're better off. Because then anybody who gives you good project, the thing about people who give you good project is that they are prepared with your money. Sorry, sorry, network was bad. So we are back. Uh, and so anybody who wants to really give you a good project in this kind of business, they would have their money and they pay serious attention to their project, and they are, if you look at their setup, they are not ready to be giving bribe or taking bribe from you, and they follow the standards and they demand the right things to be done. And I think those are the kind of projects, the kind of businesses that will help you to learn and to grow and to get the right foundations. And this kind of projects will help you to develop your ability to lead the business, your ability to work with the best of engineers, the best of people, because you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about the behavior of people. People are going to cheat and lie and steal from you. They can steal from you on your materials. They can steal from you on your labor. They can steal from you from everywhere. So there are a lot of things that people can do, which when you're starting as a beginner, when you're starting, you may not know. So if the business is not set well, and you are just attracted to cutting what they call deals, you will sacrifice, because so many things that you have to learn for you to build such businesses, general contract businesses. The way that we do it in our country is not the best. That's why we don't get a lot of businesses in this kind of sector doing well, because the things that we have to go through to learn, there are so many, so many, and yet we don't even get the engineers who express interest in entrepreneurship. Sometimes the people that when you go for bids, for instance, you see these guys who, majority of them, this is not a business for them, because this kind of businesses accept the supplies, but even the supplies, you must know, it depends on what materials that you're supplying. There are a lot of technicalities involved, but most people no technical experience, no managerial experience. They don't know anything. They don't have any clue, but they have the contract. This is the kind of thing that we have been doing, and that's why it's difficult for us to get major contractors who are coming from our background, who are independent of political influences, and they've been able to build a business. They'll be able to develop a team. They'll be able to, deliver on the expertise. It's difficult because the environment is not conducive. So before you get your project, you may have to discipline yourself to say that if I'm going to build this into a business, then there are things that I have to do, and I have to do them well. You may not go as fast as the others because you are looking for projects, which means that you're going to develop a team. You're going to develop a market team. You're going to develop people who you will train to go from one business to the other, yourself included, looking for a project. And you have to tell yourself that if I go anywhere that anybody, any engineer, any project manager is asking for anything, the moment they're asking for those things, upfront especially, I don't want to deal with that, because the moment you get into those kind of areas, you're compromising the foundations that you need for you to do this business, and that becomes tough because you yourself, you don't have money, you're broke, you're trying to get a project, and the fact is that your team will not be happy with you, that you say that you don't want to pay for us to get a project. And if you don't have a project, you don't have a business, and if you don't have a business, there's no money, and if there's no money, there's frustration. So how do you keep your thought and your principles intact while you're looking for the right kind of big project? Because the right kind of project will make you grow faster, and it will make you more disciplined, and it will make you to learn how to do more with little. Because it doesn't matter what project you have given somebody. The politicians can give somebody 100 million project, and they know that they have put 50 million on it for themselves. So you would think that the man is having 100 million, but it's not like that. He is just fronting. You would maybe have 1 million projects, but you had the project from somebody or from an organization which wants to grow, which want people who can do it and do it well. If your margin is 20%, you will know that this is my capacity. But if they padded that thing for you, you are seeing big figures through your bank, but that's not your capacity. That is a false capacity. And if you go through those kind of things as a beginner, it will not help you to succeed. So understand the environment of the business and tune your team and understand that what do you bring on board? Is it the technicalities that you understand or the management? Are you the typical entrepreneur? You have a technical understanding. You have maybe you're a civil engineer, you're a mechanical engineer, you're a quantity surveyor, you're an architect. What is it? What kind of engineering? Or electrical engineering. What technical? Maybe a project manager. What technical skill do you bring to this kind of businesses? Because it's a technical field, okay, and it needs for it to work. There has to be somebody who understands the technicalities of the trade. And there also has to be somebody who can understand the business side of running the business, and somebody who will be strong and courageous and to stay and provide the stability for the team. So I don't know, maybe you may want to go for partnership, but that is your call, not mine. How well you start this business and how well you structure it would predict how successful you become, because you're going to meet a lot of challenges. You're going to meet a lot of them. So can you survive? Can the business grow after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, after 10 years? I don't know. It depends on how well you understand some of these things. And so if you don't, then don't start. Go and start it in an area that is a bit easier for you. There are a lot of areas that are very easy to start as a business person. But if you want to start in the contract, in the engineering, the construction, the technical field, you must be equipped. It's not for boys. It's not for small girls, no. So people who are ready. But most people enter there because they want money. So it's a decision. If you want money, then maybe just go and do the connection and get the money. But it's elusive. So I would rather want to use my time and to learn the trade and to go through it. And if you find yourself having begun wrongly, then you may want to backtrack, because if you're on the wrong path, you must come back. You must come back. You must come back. So look at and don't follow the newspapers that they tender here, tender here, tender here. They have cooked it. They just publish it because they have to meet the requirements in the country. But most of the projects that you see in the newspapers are gone. Okay, majority of them are gone. So if you are looking for projects and you see every one of them, you want to send a bid, because every bid document that you go, a lot of them are selling it. So that is money. And then the bid security is also money. So if you don't win at all, the printings and everything, and then if you go to the IRS to go for certificate, you go to the Senate, and all those things that they ask you, they know that the thing they have given it to somebody, but because of hypocrisy, they will still tell everybody to come and bid. And they don't know that you don't know. And they don't know that you don't have money. And every bid that you go to, try your luck, at least 1,000 or 2,000 will go. And 1,000 or 2,000 is money that somebody can use to develop a product and become successful in a business outside some of these areas. So if you're not able to read through the lines, you spend a lot of money. Go and do all this tender and all this bid security and all this certificate and everywhere, and people will give you promise in our country. Hopefully now things are changing, things are improving, because I think this government may be trying to do some things rightly. But the ones that I was used to, a lot of people just talk. They'll give you all kind of promise, but the project will never come to you. And they don't know that you're accumulating debt. Because if you go for 10 bids in a year, and you spend 5,000 on each of them, that is 50,000. And I think that 50,000 is money that you can succeed with in other areas. And so decide. It's a tough one, but decide. I would rather use that money and maybe go and talk to some of these Ghanaian companies or multinationals that are doing their own project, that may be interested in getting companies that are serious with their works, that are able to manage and understand how these works are done. There are companies that are looking for such businesses, such companies, such startups that are serious and prompt and well managed and can have the technical understanding, and can work. So instead of you following these other areas that they just take the money, that you're not going to get it. If you have gone for 3 tenders and you have not won one, it's because the tender is not won. in the room that you sat. It is one. Before the project came, somebody else was following 2 years ago. So if you don't know it, I'm telling you, most of them, they just talk to you nicely like that, but they're lying. Okay, so don't waste your time. Any little money, any business. You are not born to just start a construction company. You're not born to start an engineering company. If you want to start a business, look at the area that you think you have the leverage, you have the understanding, you have the muscle to succeed. Most people are frustrated with construction companies, with engineering companies, with contracts, with connections from politicians, and they are sweating because they are driven not by capacity building, they are driven not by the ability to learn and go through and develop themselves as business people, they are driven by greed, they are driven by just the money. So a lot of promises are made to them and they accept it. They accept it. Even if you have the project, even if you have those kind of big figures, if you just were looking for money, okay. But if you want to build a business, you would want to do the right thing. So uh, look for that. Look for that. Don't let anybody sacrifice you. And you must have the right information. You must have the right tools to structure such businesses. Because if you don't, then you can stagnate for years. You can stagnate for years. And so be ready and start that business that you think you can start. Contract business, general business. I have a friend who is mainly into supplies. So he tells you that maybe I'm in magic. So it's always hot. You just go and meet people and discuss the things and just take the contract, go and do it and give them something. He says that that is business. Maybe that's his business. But I don't think that I want to waste a lot of my years like that. You'll be better off if you go to start an orange farm. You'll be better off if you go to start maybe a provision shop. You'll be better off if you go to start another business that you will see money. You see money every day. It's better off. A lot of contractors, it takes 2 months, 3 months, sometimes years for them to see money because the cash flow was not structured. And a business without cash flow, especially if it's a startup, is no business. And so maybe you've been doing contract for years, but you don't understand it because for you to really understand business, it is the cash flow. So the other girl who is selling ice water on the street probably understands business more than you. You are the only one convinced that you are doing business, but you know that you are engaged everywhere. Before they will give you the mobilization, you have to bring all these collaterals. Before they will give you the contract, you have to go and bring all this insurance. You are engaged and bonded everywhere. And every bit of that, every expenditure of that, all the expenses that you had, they're all going to be taken care of by the same contract. It doesn't work. That's not how you become a great business person. That's not how you become great. So if you would want to be successful in this, you would want to go in for projects that the cash flow is very good. Look at the cash flow. Can they pay you every month? You are going for a project where nobody is pestering you for bribe, where nobody is using something to bully you. You would want to look at this kind of project. You are looking for a project where your team understands all the technicalities involved and you can deliver. You can extend yourself and do more so that you can be paid more. You don't want a restricted project where you don't have anywhere to maneuver in terms of performance. Because if this project is structured so that if you perform, a lot can be added, you're learning. And you would want to look at a project where the people you put there are people that you can continue to train. And you want to look at a project where a lot of the machines that are being used there are machines that maybe the main employer may be giving you those kind of machines. Don't go and take bank loan to go and buy truck and bulldozer and those things. If it is their project, they should mobilize you. They should give you the machines. And if you don't have the machines, you're better off going to rent them than going to the bank to loan to go and buy a machine and to do this project for them. Every now and then you get a call to say, oh, I'm looking for a truck. We have this contract. We are looking for a truck. In Ghanaians and business, we don't know the implications. Having a machine or having machines, the tear and wear, the oil change, the tire change. You go and buy this machine which is 500,000 and you give it to this guy who cannot read even write his name. The next minute he's going to hit somebody with a car or he's crashing and it's on you, and you bought it with loan about 40% a month or something, a year or something. It's not the best. It's not the best. It's not the best at all. So reduce, initial capital, expenditure. The things that you put in those kind of projects should not be so much, and you should not go for loan for those. Especially if it's your first business and if it's a startup, don't put yourself in a lot of trouble. Because if you do that, you'll struggle. That's why most contractors don't build businesses well, because they don't understand that all these things contribute to the success as a business person, not only as a contractor, but you're first of all a business person, and then maybe contract is one of the things or the thing that you do. So you have to understand that if the contract is not succeeding, then maybe other businesses can succeed. So you would want to look at that and maybe shift and stop worrying yourself, or you would want to fine-tune a lot of these elements so that you become successful. It's very much important. It's very much important. So those are the things that I think I will share with you. And don't forget that the tax people are also there. They'll be chasing you. If you like it or you don't like it, they will come. And so understand these things and study it well. And hopefully you will succeed. Hopefully you succeed. And if you have difficulties, if you have done it before and you have created a lot of mess, don't give up. Consider and redesign the business. Look at the cash flow. You have to have it almost every day. Okay, and look at the expenditure. Look at your team. Look at how well technically you understand the business, and look at the leadership that you are providing, the management that you are providing. And look at how you source your work, how you source the project. Maybe you would want to change it. And look at some other things that you think will be important for you to have a successful contract business. Contract business, and see yourself as a long-term business person. So you're going to go through. Have patience. Have patience. Have faith, and continue to build yourself and continue to become better and develop yourself. And don't do business as usual. Say that Ghana, this is how you do it. That's why we don't have a lot of these businesses well established, because businesses are only built on credibility. And so we are going to struggle with this kind of the side of business that they demand credibility for, especially if you're in the contracts. It's a daily struggle, because every new project somebody else is asking something, and sometimes it's at the point of survival for your business. It's tough, it's difficult, but you must know that everything that you compromise is a hole in the foundation that you're building. So the more you compromise, the more bad foundation that you're developing. But the stronger that you are, the better the foundation. And then at a point you get that you see that you have built a business that can work. Because if you don't structure them well, they'll put you in bad shape. They'll put you in trouble. They will put you in trouble. If you send anybody to look for project and anybody is asking for money, and stop. It's better. It's better. Don't just say that, but what I will eat. Because most of it, people don't even do their markups well. They don't do the margins well. Especially the guys, those in the aluminium kind of, those kind of things. Those who are doing painting and plastering, independent contractors, doors, things like that. Because most of these guys on this project, before they give you, they're asking for something else. They are dishonest. They're asking for money. And most of these guys, he wants to survive. So try and give them something. And by the time they finish the project, they have nothing. Or they are in debt. And they are not able to, manage the labor well, manage the materials well. It's difficult. So these guys continue to take advantage of the people who are unexposed, who are naive, who don't know it. But they cannot be beating you every time. At a point, you must wise up and say that no, I'm not going to do it this way. And one of the things that you can leverage well is how excellent you organize your business. If they give you one, do it well. If they give you two, do it well. Become somebody who is known as somebody who can deliver, who is credible, who is not cheating. If you're giving invoices, you're giving the right invoices. If you say it's two, it's two. If you say you're coming 1 o'clock, you try to come 1 o'clock. If you get organized that way, you can get a lot of independent works, and those even if they are not much, they will help you to grow your business. Because the moment you set your things rightly, any little money you'll be able to make the right choices and build a business. Because after all, it's a business that you're building. It's not just money you're chasing. So it's a business you're building, and if you manage your things well, you will build that business and build it well. And build it well. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time becoming a slave to another man who is always demanding bribe and money from you and tell you that they have a lot of projects. And if you understand the language and if you're fast, those are the words that they use, then you'll be together. You don't bond yourself to those things. Bond yourself to that which is standardized, that which is proper. Let a lot of the things that you do be things that you can open and people will see. And it takes a lot of effort to do those, but those are the only things that are going to secure your success as an independent contractor or as a general contractor or whatever they call it. Those are the things that are going to make you successful. Trust me. If anybody gives you a house to build for them, just work on the figures. Agree. This is 10,000. Is it right? Yes. So we are working on 10,000. Don't change anything. Don't lie. Agree to it. If per chance you have difficulty, go and discuss the thing with the person. Say that, listen, things have changed. I'm sorry, but I was wrong. Maybe if they are good people, they will agree. If they are not, don't worry. You may not win on every project, but because you are losing, does not mean that go and change the figures and go and do a lot of things that are unacceptable. That's not the way to build a business. That's not the way to go. That's not the way to succeed. Don't be so much driven by self and greed. Be driven by the standards. Be driven by where you want to go. Be driven by what you're building. Because it's a build-up. It's a build-up. You're building, you're becoming successful little by little. Before you see it, it's a big business. Before you see it, it's well established. Before you see it, it's exploding. And everybody will be calling and say that these guys are good. He's a good man. He's good with his figures, with his finances. He understands the work. He's able to manage his team. We can work with him. Those are the things that you want to be noted for. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of years for you to have that built. So don't be at the mercy of public servants or politicians. Work on your own talent, develop and understand the trade, and hopefully you will succeed. If you don't give up, it's not even hopefully. If you don't give up, you succeed. And understand, study the money well. Study the money well. Study every project that you get, study the money well. And if it's that much complex, get some people who can read the contract and explain it to you. Get them. If you can and read it, go and get somebody. Let them study it well for you, especially the liability and the finances area. Go and study them well because you don't know what they're putting there. And it's better to build a team. This kind of businesses are run by a good team than just you doing everything or being the 100% owner. There's nothing like having good people to work with. Strong people, credible people, ambitious people who want to go somewhere. If you get 1, 2, 3 people as part of your team, you win. I tell you. And no matter the delays, no matter the problems that you meet, look to the future, the business that you want to build. Look at it, look into it, and nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. So my name is Obenako. I talk about some of the tips that you can use as a general contractor. If you are thinking of starting a construction business or you are already into construction, and supplies or something like that. What I'm saying is that cut away all the middlemen. Look for projects that are direct, that nobody is asking for bribe. It's one of the safest way to build a business. The other thing is that you want to understand the business yourself, and you want to know what you bring on board, whether you have technical skill or you have managerial skill or you have both. Build a team around it and understand. Look at the finances well. Don't just go and take loan for somebody's project, and don't go and take loan to be buying trucks and all these machines for somebody's work. And the best part of it is that if anybody gives you work, ask for mobilization. At least it will save you. Don't go and take loan to go and do projects. They will sink your business. It's bad decision, bad choice. And any money that you spend before the contract, the mobilization guarantee, the tender, and all those things, all the tenders that you see in the newspaper, they are not for you. It's just for the show. It's for the show. Okay, so those are the things that you follow. Build a strong marketing team if you can. Get 1 or 2 people who can be bringing you leads at least. And don't be in haste to go for the big kill. Start with what you understand. And as you go on, as you build capacity, as you build understanding, you never know, you'll be able. Because it's going to take you a lot of effort for you to survive in this kind of business. Most contractors fail if you don't know. So, and get the best of team. And get the best of team. And it's doable. And study, continuously develop, and become better as a business person. So thank you very much. If you're equipped with knowledge, if you're equipped with information, you're better off than the one who is working with little or no knowledge at all. You're better off because businesses are successful because of how they were designed and how they were implemented. It's like building is the same. A building, if it's set well, it will, if proper engineers to set the building well, it will stay. It will go up well. If they didn't understand the drawings and everything that they were doing, they'll put it there, but it will collapse. So it doesn't matter how magnificent that building is. If the foundation is wrong, it's just a matter of time. In a bad wind will blow that building off. It's the same with business. If you don't try to set the foundations well, the bad winds will come anyway, and when they come, you'll be gone. And so thank you very much for watching. Thank you.